Hello, it's Jane here. It's the middle of September and as you can see I'm actually inside the Polytunnel. Now there's two reasons for that. The first reason is it really needs a good sort out and that's my video today. But the second reason is the weather today has been quite odd to say the least. We've had monsoon type rain, we've had bitter cold winds, and then as you can see now the sun's coming in this way and I'm having to squint a bit. Then the sun comes out. What can you do? What can you do? So as you all know, I'm a little bit nesh, so I've decided if I'm going to come up here today I'm going to do something indoors. So it's the perfect opportunity to have a little look around, clear away what needs to be cleared away, which is basically everything, and decide what I'm going to be doing with the Polytunnel over the winter, which I'll come on to a little bit later on. Okay, so let's just have a little look round and decide what we're going to have to do to tidy up. Well, as I've said before, this Polytunnel has served me really well with regard to the tomatoes this year, because even about 2 months after the outdoor ones got blight, these are still going strong. I mean, obviously they're dead. Mostly dead anyway. Now I'm not going to get much more fruit off them, but doing them indoors has really made a difference. So I'll certainly be using, let me just pan over ever so slowly, I'll certainly be using the Poly for tomatoes next year. Look, I've even got some of these Brad's Atomic Grape left. Look, is that the last one? I think it is. These, oh my goodness, you might have heard people rave on about them, and sometimes that happens and you think, yeah, but really they're not that good. They are quite, I think, amazing. They're like no tomato I've ever tasted before. Might be a bit of a love-hate thing. You either like them or you don't, but they are incredible, so I'll definitely be growing them again. But yeah, it's time to sort of get the last of the fruits off. Some of them have fallen off already. Look, that one's on the floor. That could go to the chickens. But yeah, and then I'm going to get these tomato plants up and out. Okay, last little tomato harvest. Of course they'll roll over to the other side of the basket, don't they? A couple of peppers in there as well, but that's it for tomatoes this year. But what I want to do now is get these plants out. Now if you watch my video way back when I put the tomatoes in, I was advocating very much the string method, which I've used before. So basically we've got these bamboo canes, probably off camera, running across the crop bars of the poly, and then I drop string down, dig it in, dig a hole to put the tomato in, put the string, tie a knot in the string right at the bottom, put it in the planting hole, then I put the tomatoes in, and theoretically as the tomatoes grow up you wind the string round. Didn't always work. Sometimes the string just popped out. Sometimes it was just too short, so I had to extend it. So it wasn't foolproof. It worked, but I might reconsider how I'm going to do this year. When you think, sorry, I just pulled that out without even thinking. Look at the size of that plant, right? I'm 5'6", about the same as me. Look, I know there'll be roots that I've broken off in the soil and everything, but it's amazing to think that's what it's come from. So what I'm going to do with these for now is just throw them out the door and ignore them and pretend they're not there, because in a minute I'm going to be letting in some of our furry friends, or should I say our feathery friends, to come and have a little scrabble around. But for now, just going to shake the excess soil off the end. The string I know is biodegradable, so that can go on the compost as well. Yeah, and put them outside, and then we'll see what sort of keep that one. Then we'll see what sort of space we've got left. for winter growing. Okay. There we go, in the ready to go to the compost pile. I tell you what, they were a lot quicker to pull up than they were to plant. I don't know if you can hear the wind in the trees now, but I think we're heading for another bit of a storm. Okay, there we go. Can you hear the rain now on the roof? It's starting to come down again. Sun's still out there, quite warm. Yeah, it actually looks a little bit messier than it did when the tomatoes were in, because now you can see where all the weeds are. But we've got weeds, we've got the last of the Tagetes marigolds, and what I'm really excited about actually is I remember we planted onions around the edge of the poly and then ignored them. And we thought they hadn't really come to anything because we didn't water them basically, but I'm finding them. Look, that's a serviceable little onion. So they'll be going in my little basket with the last of the tomatoes as well. So yeah, pleased with them. Right, let's see what our little feathered friends think of this. There we go. We've got Cora, Edith and Sybil. Had to check then. Sybil's tail's grown back, we're quite pleased with it, she probably is as well. But yeah, they've never been in here before, so it's a perfect time for them to have a little scratch around. I've got both doors shut, and yeah, they can have a little go at those weeds for me. They can pay their way, but let me just show you something. Let me show you, hold on. Yeah, don't wear this colour jumper if you're going to be pulling up. I mean, tomato hands are bad enough, can you see that familiar tint, green tint there? Yeah, and picking up chickens on a muddy day, not a good colour. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to let them get on with a little bit of scrabbling, and then I will continue my clear out. I'll show you what bit I'm going to do next. This is the remains of my sugar baby watermelon, which I imagined would be reaching the roof. I did, reaching the roof and you know, providing maybe too much shade for the tomatoes to ripen, but didn't happen. Serves me right. I mean, one of the problems I think this year, well, I let them get too dry, but I did also, I relied on these halo pots, which otherwise are really good. And if you haven't seen them, they're basically, let me put those down. They're basically these pots that you can fill with water, leave a water reservoir around there, and it should prevent your plant drying out. But I think with such, I'm saying greedy plants, such thirsty plants such as melons, it needed more than that. It needed way more enrichment in the compost. So next year, I might still use those, but I'm certainly going to be wherever I plant them. Might be back in here. I'm going to make sure that I've dug, I know, no dig normally, I've dug, she's doing it for me, a nice big hole and prepared it early on with as much moisture retentive matter as I can. So it might be council compost, it might be stuff from the bokashi bin, it could be leaves, it could be anything, probably a mixture of all three, that will provide a much better growing area for my melons. Just got to pick all these up as well now. Yeah, I think I've changed different mind about these already. I think these are going to have to come down as well. There we are. Hello, you. Hello. Hello. What's up? Nothing for you. Nothing for you. Yeah, I've changed my mind already about leaving this string. I'm finding it really annoying as I'm sort of standing up underneath. It's sort of getting tangled round. So I'll be able to actually reuse this, rewind it and reuse it, just like they did in the olden days. I know. There we go. Something else I want to address for next year is this. I'll put my foot there, can you see it? Yes, is this pathway. We use some of this weed suppressing membrane. I think it's double, it might be more actually. And yes, it's kept the weeds out, but I do not like the way at all that it frays at the ends like that. Look, even the chickens think it's big long worms, don't you? So yeah, I mean, they're not nice, these things at all. They get caught in everything and you just don't want them anywhere near your garden. So what I think we'll do this year is sort of dig those in a little bit more and put some wooden edges, so we've got more of an edged bed system, and it'll also make it easier to sort of sweep the pathway and that sort of thing. So yeah, another job. Something that's been really useful this year, and if you are going to put a polytunnel or really any sort of structure up, get some guttering and collect your rainwater, because most of our barrels are at the bottom of the plot. We've got a big IPC or whatever you call them at the top, but for ease of use, just having a big barrel of water outside your polytunnel makes such a difference. So yeah, next year, or maybe even this autumn, we're going to set one of these up on the other side of the poly as well, especially if we're going to be growing in the poly over winter. It's so handy. Well, here's the thing. The chickens have locked me out. Oh my goodness. What's happened is or I think what's happened, can you see the little, there's like one of those little, I don't know what you call the metal spikes there, and it's obviously slipped back down. So yeah, I'm locked out of the polytunnel. I'll be back in a minute. Well, that was fun. I've never been locked out of my own polytunnel before. But what's happened, I don't know if you can see from there, this metal spike here, I'd put it across there to sort of stop the door locking while I was outside, so it would stay like that with just the watering can on the other side to keep it closed. And when I came back in, it had fallen down. And I'm not sure if these girls had nothing to do with it, you know. So it's anyway, it's nothing that a bit of a wiggle around with a narrow saw couldn't solve. But yes, I'm back in. It really is, I don't know if it's picking up on camera now, but it really is blowing quite a storm. Not raining yet, but what are you doing? What are you doing? What did you do to my lock? But yeah, so now, the reason I am getting this polytunnel ready and not just letting these tomatoes sort of die down of their own accord, which I think is what I did last year, is this year we're actually going to be growing in the polytunnel over the winter. We didn't do it last year because we tend not to actively garden over the winter. And when I say actively, I mean we come up and harvest. So we've got things like kale and cabbage and parsnips and carrots in. So we come up and collect those things, but we're not actually growing things specifically, sowing and growing over the winter months. However, with our feathered friends here, we are going to have to come up, whether we like it or not really, most days, if not all, to check that they're okay, especially when the weather's cold and grotty. You know, we're going to want to see that they're all right and give them a little cuddle every now and then. So that means if we're coming up anyway, we may as well use the time to grow some things. So what I've been thinking is, over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to let these in and their little friends to have a good old scrub around, have a little peck around, just rake up the top of the soil for me. And then we're going to put a layer of whatever we've got, so mulch, chicken bedding once it's composted down, the cashew bin, anything we've got, council compost, leaf mould, anything like that, on the top, and plant directly into it. So my idea this year was, I know I was talking about growing onions around the side that we forgot about last year, but one of the reasons we forgot about it is just because we tended not to come up, you know. But I want one half at least to be overwintering onions, because if you remember, my onion harvest this year has been absolute pants. So if we can get some more onions to make up for it, great, all the better, because that is just now wasted space as far as I'm concerned. That is wasted. Last year it would have been, I would have said it's been put to bed. This year it's wasted space. So I'm thinking about half of the poly going to onions, but what do I put in the other half? This is what I want to ask you. I do want to save space for, in the spring, the poly acted as a brilliant overspill from the greenhouse. So whereas you've got your kitchen windowsills, your tables at home, your greenhouses, if you're lucky enough to have one, are all really, really filling up, and you're running out of space. It was brilliant to be able to put a couple of tables up or whatever up here and use it as an overspill. So I will need space for tables, but I've got to say, we've got at least half of our tunnel, so it's a 10-foot stretch by 3 foot, that I don't really know what to put in, apart from maybe more onions. But so let me know what you grow over winter. I've got to say, I'm not a fan of lettuce in the winter. I know a lot of people will grow that sort of leafy green, so you might have your, all those beautiful satsui, pak choi, lettuce, Japanese greens, Chinese greens, all those sort of things. You might be growing those, but I'm not a fan of those. Should I start my broad beans off in here? But then if I start them off in here, have I got to see them right through? Can I transplant them when it... Basically, nothing else will be in here until the tomatoes go in. So that will be middle to the end of May, middle of May. Can I get my broad beans out by then? I don't know, I need advice. Can you tell? I need advice. I'm a newbie winter gardener. What would you grow, and what have you grown, and what's been most successful in your polytunnel? Let me know. Put your answers or put your comments in the comments section below. Also to say that underneath, a few people have asked when I say all the details are below. If you click under the title of the video, you'll see links to the Facebook group and the Instagram page and email address and all that sort of thing underneath. So just have a little look around there. So I've been distracted. I can't multitask. I am going to have to get used to this because I am just fascinated with them at the minute. I know the novelty will wear off to an extent, but oh, I've just spotted another plastic thing. They've dug that up for me. But yeah, I'm having great fun with them. Can you tell? So yeah, let me know in the comments below what you're up to, what you're putting. Are you gardening over winter? If not, why not? If you are, why? And I can't do it. I can't keep talking and looking at them and concentrating on what I'm saying. I'm gonna go. Okay, I hope you're all okay out there, and I hope I get back to the car before it absolutely buckets down, because it's really, really picking up out there now. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.